Segun Ganawage. I'm here today to talk to you about a very important decision that was made recently by the Mohawk Council of Ganawage regarding education and the Combined Schools Committee. Because of its importance and the length of time which it took for us to come to this decision, all of the debates, discussions, and everything else in between, I've prepared a statement to ensure that I don't omit any of the important facts that have led us to make this decision, and I want to report back to you on these at this point. The MCK has had to make a very difficult decision regarding education in the community with the suspension of the authority of the Combined Schools Committee. After many meetings with people from all sides of the issue, it became clear to us that a decision needed to be made, with 11 out of 12 strongly supporting this decision. The MCK is not taking away the voice of the parents in regards to education, but rather taking unpopular and painful measures for common good. Once the issues are addressed and problems are corrected, the education system will revert back to a constitution that is updated to meet today's needs while reflecting and respecting the intent of the original constitution. People need to stop acting in an emotional manner. This issue calls for calm, patience, and wisdom, and most of all, a good mind. The children look up to us, and we all need to do a better job of being proper role models. The actions that have been taken are not about power, but rather to find solutions. The Interim Board of Trustees consists of extremely competent and highly respected community members, none of whom work for the MCK. We must trust that with their levels of expertise, they will be able to quickly complete the tasks and allow for a smooth transition back to the parents' full authority. There are a number of issues that need to be clarified in order for people to truly understand the reasons behind our decision. 1. The MCK, on behalf of the community, has a vested interest in education. It is responsible to ensure that monies are spent appropriately. The Education Center presents an annual budget to the MCK for approval. In the case of shortfalls, the Education Center must apply to the MCK to cover these shortfalls or deficits. It is incumbent on the Education Center to ensure that all proper practices and procedures are followed, whether the matter is fiscal, educational, or human resource related. As a safety measure, the final responsibility lies with the MCK to ensure that this is done. Without an independent review, it is extremely difficult to determine whether the actions taken by the KCSC are defensible. And without the independent review, there is no assurance that any problems can be corrected and prevented in the future. That is the main reason why the MCK strongly supports the independent review. 2. All parties have pointed that the Constitution is a very large problem. The main focus of the Interim Board of Trustees is to ensure that the Constitution is put in order, as there are several different documents circulating within the community. This has caused a great deal of confusion, which is one of the greatest factors in the ongoing dispute. The Interim Board of Trustees will consult with the various stakeholders and the community to ensure the Constitution is the actual reflection of the will of the people. 3. There is also a need to update and clarify the Education Responsibilities Act, the policy document which is used as a guide by the KCSC. 4. The Interim Board of Trustees does not take direction from the MCK. It will report on its progress to the MCK, but all decisions are by the trustees. 5. While the MCK compiled an extensive file on this issue over many months, the main reason for not making the information immediately available was to give the parents, administrators, and KCSC time to resolve the issue, without the MCK adding to the problems. Due to the failure of the parties to resolve the problems, the MCK is now in a position to present the information on which it based its decision to the community. Any and all relevant information will be made available to give the community assurances that the MCK is not acting in a manner that could be considered rushed or uninformed. Finally, the series of threats against the Education Center staff in the September 6th proclamation is deplorable and unacceptable. Additionally, the closing statement in quotes, "Please consider this your second warning," is completely contrary to the spirit of which the community stands for, and is nothing more than an exercise in bullying that cannot be tolerated. While the group that signed this proclamation has a right to its own opinion, they must be reminded there are a great number of parents in this community of a different opinion. Otherwise, we would not be in this position today. These other parents, while unhappy, have not resorted to threats. I think it's extremely important to understand, as I said earlier, to try and take the emotion out of this. We understand that there are concerns from elders in the community who were part of the original Constitution formation as well as the Combined Schools Committee composition. We're not trying to take any of that away. We are confident that within the next, call it 90 days, maybe a little longer, that there will be an opportunity for this to revert back to its original intent and have parents control education system in the community. There is an opening. We've met with the interim board, and they have the understanding that they would like to put out the olive branch, so to speak to people on, call it the other side at this point, unfortunately, but other concerned parents who support the former Combined School Committee and would like to see if there's a possibility that they work together again in reforming this Constitution as we move forward together as a community. For the full statement, this is posted on Kahnawake.com with a lot more factual information that MCK based its decision on. I would implore you to take a look at it. We hope to provide as much information as we can. It is on the agenda for the upcoming public meeting this coming Tuesday. We hope people will show up, and we have a lot to say as well. Like I said, the MCK has a vested interest in education in our community, Kahnawake, and will continue to support that. Nyawangoa.